Hey y'all. What is happening? What's going on? Let's fix this. How's y'all week going? How's y'all day going? And what y'all have planned for this upcoming weekend? We're coming close to the end of Black History Month. Or, child, seems like we just getting started for the Black History year. Because every year is Black History because period. Um, Yeah, come through starting off with the Black History. Okay. I want to take a breather of rape culture. I want to take a breather of trying to speak out on education, facts, statistics. I want to take a breather on how it may or may not have affected other people of what we've experienced. And I want to take this moment to pour some love and grace and light and healing and peace into our younger selves. I know I'm gonna be a tearjerker. Some way, somehow, baby, is gonna be a tear too. Maybe. But that really was on my heart to talk about and express. And I was going through some of my last videos and episodes that I've done, and in my intro, not feeling like I remember mentioning you was able to even grieve the loss of yourself. Some of us have never grieved ourselves from that experience that we, went through. And then we just had to pick up and seem like we just had to pick up and move. We had to pick up and go. And in some type of way, when you think about it and you reflect on it in that way, it seems like we left our younger selves behind, or we left that version behind and, didn't want to go back. And, we left a piece of us. So this can be of like a thing, this can be of a person. And when I say person, this could have been like, say for instance, a child was born from this traumatic experience, whether it was rape or kidnapping or whatever, just any type of dealing that has happened. A child was born from this particular trauma bond, or just a version of us that we kind of miss or that we haven't experienced in so long. And at this day and age, we're probably like 30, 40, in our 50s even, and we miss our younger selves so much that we are afraid to experience swimming again. We're afraid to go away, to go on vacation by ourselves solo, or share experiences with other people, because we don't trust people anymore because of what we went through or whatever. And we're not as adventurous, we're not as fun as we used to be, we're not as lighthearted, we're not as all of the things. And I want us to get back to that. I want us to touch on that. Excuse me, I want us to feel all of that. And I know for me, there are certain points, moments in my life where I do reflect and sit back and I'll be like, dang, like I can't wait till I'm in the moment to where I can like feel like I'm truly free, or to where I can do all those things. But when I think those particular thoughts, I tend to believe that I have to wait until I accumulate or generate, a certain amount of money, or I have to wait pretty much to want to experience this or whatever with other people. And it's like, if I had the thought and I have that thrive and that thrill, that drive and that thrill to go ahead and do it, like just do it, you know what I mean? And that's where I'm at now. I have a 4-year-old son, and they're okay, any moms or even dads, shoot, child, because y'all fathers out there seem to be uh making it happen, okay, with this toddler stage. Because slick, maybe because y'all are still there mentally in that toddler stage. But anyways, the point that I'm getting at real quick is that toddler stage is kicking my butt. I love my son. And it's true, like, is he a part of the alpha generation? I don't know, but these little kids are really savages out here. We love them to death, but they need to chill out. They need to chill out for real. But when I talk about him, and when I think about him, and when I reflect on our moments together, I constantly pray to God that he keeps this same energy, that his light is always covered and protected, that he never, like, with him growing old, that he feels and experience what happiness, like, of what happiness of child life, like childlike is, and that he continues to be adventurous, that he continues to be, I guess, a jokester. But he needs to chill out on that too, because child, I just want him to remain free in this particular way. He's very free spirited. He is very independent. He wants to do everything on his own. He does not want help with nothing. Reminds me of someone else I know. But nonetheless, um, I pray that, he's able to tap into that when he's feeling down low, or, just needs to spruce it up and spice it up and bring that fire back. And I hope he, never loses that. Because for one, I know that I have in some way, and if it has taken me a little bit longer to get there. And the reason why it's taken me some time to get there is because, I was hard on myself, and I was hard on myself because of overextending myself, overextending myself in ways to where I felt like, I was depreciating, like I was, whatever I was giving, I was also giving, like, as an empty cup. And it in some way wasn't reciprocated. It was like, it seemed like I was, you know, pretty much just pouring all of my water and watering everybody else, and I wasn't watering myself, or, wasn't being poured into in different ways, whether that was, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, or whatever. And there's the reciprocation, and the reciprocation was off. And in relationships, or just dealing with other people, I, yearned for that. I yearned for it to be kind of like a equal type of situation, or just like I'll pour into you if you pour into me, but if you don't, then I'm out. Or you know, you know, I mean, that's pretty much what that is. There's no other explanation. If you pour into me, I will pour into you, and that's that. And on one end, it is kind of setting boundaries for yourself. And then on the other end, it's like, is this considered a healthy boundary if you are not wanting, or it's like you want to do it, but you're not doing it, from a genuine standpoint. You're just doing it because somebody else is doing it for you. And I started to gain that kind of mentality, that kind of perspective, because I was just so tired of being the bigger person. I was tired of showing up for other people. And at the end of the day, I wasn't showing up for myself because I was so into them, or so into these friendships or relationships or whatever, to where I wasn't getting anything out of it. And at the end, it just seemed like, even for me, from the moment of being like, from these events of me being taken advantage of, it seemed like that's where I kind of got used to doing that. I kind of gotten used to giving myself away, or that's what I was used for, or because this has happened, this clearly this is how I will always be looked at. And or even how I've been talked to or poured into in the most unhealthy, toxic, in a toxic way. And it's like, okay, maybe I was built or created for this, or maybe I, just taking all of these experiences in, and you know feeling it, and really, like, not, I guess you could say, not thinking positive of what the outcome would truly be once I'm like healed. And I can tell that those particular thoughts or perspectives was not the healed version of me, because of who I used to be. Or not even who I used to be, who I once was, that people experienced when I was younger, or saw me as. Because I know that, for instance, I'm still a light. I'm still fun to be around. I'm still funny, or I still have moments where, I'm all of these beautiful things in this little round ball, like this bubble. I'm so giddy to be around. I'm so fun to be around, and adventurous, and all of these things. And then on the other hand, when I'm behind, closed doors and the comfort of my own space, I'm like, don't nobody want to fuck with me, excuse me, don't nobody want to be in my space for real. Or it's apparent that the more that I give myself away, that's all I will be used for. Nobody doesn't want me for anything else or whatever. And it seemed like over the years it tended to be a constant tug of war, like with fighting myself and really changing for the better, or wanting to change for me, or wanting better for myself. And yeah, childhood was just hard, and it's been hard. Um, I've accepted change, and have accepted some of the things that I've gone through, that, even in relationships, um, work, like work environments, or meeting peers and different people or whatever. Of course, we all know that everything happens for a reason. And, you know, we go through seasons with people. We can go seasons, multiple of seasons with people. And sometimes we can just go a quarter, maybe before we, a quarter, whatever, a week, a few months or whatever with the person, and learn so much from those particular connections. And we miss out on how we've truly, evolved or have grown from these different events that have taken place in our life. One of the things that I want to do is to remind you to give yourself grace for um, how you've gotten here, and to really not be hard on yourself when it comes to showing up for your kids and showing up for your partner or showing up for your best friends. And there are going to be times where you feel like it's going to be hard to show up because there's a lot of work that needs to be done with you, but know that you're still doing the work along the way when you showing up. And you and when I'm what I mean by showing up is making it happen. And that can be in any situation, you know what I mean? Like, you uncomfortable, it's like being in a relationship and you're constantly choosing the other person, and you're choosing that other person even in the midst of, an argument or wrongdoing, or uh showing up for a person that has hurt you, and you know that you love them, and that they can change, or this particular situation or whatever of how it has hurt you, it doesn't affect you in a way to where it makes you want to leave, but it makes you want to stay to become stronger, and to continue to work on being a better version of yourself. And then and then there are going to be times where there are going to be times where when you're showing up for people or whatever, that you're going to be disappointed. And it doesn't take away from the fact that you have probably disappointed plenty of people, and sometimes you've missed the mark because you wasn't in that particular place, or you was unaware of how you could have said or done or handled certain things in that moment in time. But uh but you're still here, and give yourself grace. Give yourself that time to give yourself time to take a moment, pause, and be like, okay, okay, breathe. Look at everything that's presented to you. Hear the message. Know the root of the message, and seeing how we can move forward from it, and not letting anything that has happened in the past um, affect it or affect you, and how you make the decisions to change and to transmute everything that has happened in the now and the present, because ultimately that's what this is for. That is what healing is. It's being able to take some of the things that you've experienced, whether it was with your family, firsthand, or with the stranger that you never knew, or even a friend that you thought was loyal to you, and they have betrayed you in different ways or whatever. And you can transmute these particular situations to be like, all right, like, I know that this isn't me, and this doesn't have nothing to do with me. And even though they have hurt you or whatever in this particular way, what can you do differently or better about yourself? What, like, just anything or whatever, so that you can handle the situation in the most healthiest way possible. And then on the other hand, it is, time to move forward without the person, or without this group of people, or without these particular things, and truly letting go, especially if it's not serving you, or if it's not if it holds no value and is really not benefiting you over time, I'll say over time or even now, you know what I mean? And more so some of the things that some of the things that I'm talking about now is what I mean by is what I'm referring to over time, because we can stay in particular environments or situations longer than what we really need to, but it's like at this point, do we even know what we deserve and what benefits us, especially if we keep on staying in the same situation that is constantly hurting us, and we miss like how like are we really missing the red flags? Are we missing the signs to go? And are we really not, being discerned, like being discerning and listening to God's voice or whatever? And sometimes God will be quiet and he will be silent on purpose for you to keep still. And we have to pay attention to that as well. And sometimes I don't think we do, because we're, so caught up in the rut and in the mud, and we're trying to get ourselves out, and we're trying to just make do with what we've experienced and what has happened, and with or without sources. And child, we be getting out that pit with like nothing and just going. It's like, well, at least I'm still alive. At least I'm still here. At least I made it. And then it's like, is that enough? Is that enough? We don't we forget to grieve for the person we or that version that was taken advantage of, and the person that went through this traumatic experience. And I feel like it can be anything. I feel like cheating is traumatic to an extent, especially when you've been with someone for so long, and you grew with them, you pretty much have learned them. And although over time, like, you see the evolution and the growth or whatever, but they betray you in such a way to where it's like you miss all the signs again when you're being manipulated, or being taken advantage of, mentally and emotionally, even spiritually, and people are tugging at you and using you for the benefit of them. They are out here gaslighting you, making you believe that you're crazy, or that you are oblivious to the things that you actually have seen or been aware of. And they're constantly, like, they're literally to the point where, like, using you and paying you in different ways to convince you that you are not who you are, or meant to be, what you're supposed to do, how you was even brought here, why you even stayed. Like, they are convincing you that what it is not that, and they have tricked you. And for me, I feel like even with cheating, because it starts with the emotional and mental connection, that kind of form of manipulation, um if it's not just as bad as worse, because that's how people get to you first, through emotions, and the through the emotions and through the mind. And that's how I feel like people really tug and pull at your heartstrings to get really close to you. And then they learn your mannerisms. People learn about who you really are based off of your mannerisms, how you speak, how you talk, what your posture is like, and how you move. And then they want to ask about your backstory, about who you are, what you've been through, what you've gone through, where you're going, what's your goals. And it's plotting. It's It's giving plot. And then, child, it becomes a plot twist, and it feels like it's too late. But there's still more. There's still more time. There's still more time for the end of the story to change. And you have those who have been taken advantage of physically, from family, from friends, from strangers. And we don't grieve that type of person either, because it feels like a lot of time has gone by. And it feels like time has gone so fast after that. And then when you think about where you are today, it's like time has really gone by, because I'm older with kids, or I'm older and I'm promoted into this big career, or I'm down and out and I've been here for a very long time, and I have not accepted this kind of person who I am today, because I didn't get a chance to comfort her, or comfort him, your younger him, if you're a guy. And over the times, we feel like we're ways of um lost in ways of how we're supposed to heal, how we're or what we're supposed to do, where we're supposed to go with healing. Like, how is that, like there's a manual, and it's not. And so we believe that some of the things that we do have helped us to get to where we are today. And I can say there was a point in my life when I can say that some of the things really wasn't, um, it was a part of my journey, but it probably did set me back to get closer to where I truly needed to be in my healing journey, if that makes sense. If that makes sense. And it was because of the thought that it was like avenging my younger self, and taking revenge from my younger self too. It's like, because, I was in a situation where I was taken advantage of, and like things didn't work out after I was like put in this position to talk about it when I wasn't ready to deal with it. Because how do you deal with being raped? How do you deal with going back into the past and remembering moments of you being molested, or going back and, you know, going back into all these different moments of your life, and you have to relive it, and your body is constantly reliving it. And the only way that you feel like you can avenge, baby girl or baby boy, is to take advantage of other people, or to hurt other people, or in different ways. And maybe they probably not hurt, because at the end of the day, you really hurting yourself. And it's like, you don't know that when you in a moment, when you know, effing on a nigga, and maybe they do like you, but you like, nah, F you, like you're not saying it out loud. Or maybe well, nowadays we are saying it out loud, but then if you was like, your body count is becoming now a hear ye, and you know You like, well, shit. I mean, shoot. Well, they out here effing on these girls and they don't want them. So I'm out here avenging. Like, these niggas didn't want me, so I don't want them neither. And we coming out and we feel like we coming out on top. Like, we feeling like our baby girl or whatever needed that. Like, since nobody don't want to be out here truly protecting us, okay, we got each other, and we not gonna be out here protecting these niggas that's not protecting us. But this is to all the niggas that don't care about us. And that is the type of energy that we going with. And there are certain energies or whatever in the industry to where people are transmuting and changing that, I feel like, now. But there are women out there that are truly like have that energy, just whether they're sex workers, whether they out here, you know what I mean? I mean, technically it's still sex work if you doing it for yourself and you coming out on top or whatever in different ways. And listen, like, no shame, no hate to you. Like, you doing what you gotta do. But are we really, are we healed? Are we? Because I know during in that place of where I was of taking revenge and avenging my younger self. I mean, I know I that was like really in the beginning stages of my healing process. And over time it was like, well, I really don't want to deal with nobody, or I don't want to feel like I don't want to feel like I want to connect with anybody, because nobody really truly wants to connect with me. I remember um one of my close friends from high school, me and her um went to IHOP after school, and after either after school or after work, and we were, just chilling or whatever, and she was telling me about her relationship or whatever with the guy. And we have shared some of the same experiences, and I'm listening to some of the things that she's experiencing or that she's going through with her current boyfriend at the time, and I'm like, does he really love you? And then I stopped and I was like, do you really love yourself? And I was like, do we really love ourselves? And if I'm not mistaken, either one of us was like, I feel like we do, but I feel like we're missing something. And I remember encouraging her, and I was like, look, like, this is one of these situations where we cannot, and you cannot let a man dictate how you show up for him, and let alone show up for yourself. And the same way that you choose him every time is how you choose you. Like, you are love. Like, our power is love. And granted, people prey on that, but we cannot stay in positions like this no longer. And I'm just going in. And when I get passionate, you done heard it all throughout all the other stuff that y'all done been listening to. Like, when I get excited, child, my voice gets screechy. I get real high pitch, and you know, I get hype. I'm not. I mean, maybe I do get loud, but not loud to where it's obnoxious or whatever. It's just like you hear me, and I want to say like a priest or a minister of I want to say a Catholic church, because he had on the whole entire, situation. And he was like, I walked by and I wasn't listening too much to your conversation, but you are a great friend and she needs you. Talking about my friend, talking to me about me talking to my friend, and was like, she and whoever else is your friend is going to need you. And I pray that your love and your light for how you give to other people doesn't go away, and doesn't, just pretty much encouraging me to keep my light, shining. And we both started like not crying, but we both started tearing because if that minister could just have only known what we like were just talking about before we even started talking about her boyfriend, child, like we sitting here connecting over, us getting raped by these crazy people, and the just, and then having to feel like we're constantly reliving it over and over again, and we're trying to manifest and be in these great relationships with guys, and on one hand is not working, and then on the other hand, we don't care about them, and it's like trying to figure out what we're experiencing. Why are we feeling this way? Why are we going through so much turmoil? And not only because we're not really healed, but because we have not grieved. We have not had a chance to like exhale and breathe from all of this ruts and all of this spiritual like warfare that people has actually have gone into battle with our spirit, with our body. It's like people taking advantage of us, and like they mad out here in the world, and they taking advantage of us by getting mad at us. So they take our innocence and our love and our passion and our spirit, our light, our peace, and all these things or whatever away. And then now we kind of in some way have these particular ties connected spiritually. Podcast. That is, wow. That is a particular soul tie that we do not talk about. How other people's spirits have taken advantage of ours because they were hurting or because they were mad, and they took it out on us. They took it out on our spirit. Their spirit took it out on our spirit. And now we having to deal with all this confusion and turmoil, all this craziness or whatever that we have to experience or whatever through our lives. And sometimes it goes downhill and it does not come back up. Sometimes it's a roller coaster, it's good, but then it gets rocky. And it seems like it's never ending. It seems like we're never going to get by. It seems like we're never going to make it out or whatever, and it's just never going to work. Seems like we're never going to find love, or we're going to ever be in love, or a man is not going to ever love us the way that we truly need to, or protect us the way that we need to, or care for us the way that we need to, or whatever. And so we constantly doing the work on ourselves. We constantly changing. We constantly changing our appearance, what we look like, what we feel like, what we should be like. And then you have men out here or whatever telling us what we need to do and how we need to show up for them, but they're not doing damn near the half or whatever to get to where we to get to what they want. They not doing the work, but they want us to do all the work to be traditional, to go half on Rit or whatever whatever this long list is that these other podcasters are talking about. On these guys that have not spoken out a day in their life about anything. And now I'm here for us. I'm here for us using our throat chakras and having conversations about all these different topics that may or may not have been circulating and percolating. But nonetheless, we has got to be healthy when we have these conversations, and these conversations also need to be effective to where you can hear men and women, and that's that. It needs to be effective, and it needs to be healthy. And majority of these conversations are not. The majority of these conversations are not. But I know that women and men alike, we have gone through so much to where it seems like if you're listening to this, that we were the ones chosen to break these generational curses and cycles from our families, for our ancestors, and for our family, to be proud of us, to reclaim our love, to reclaim our time, to reclaim our light, to reclaim our peace, to reclaim our strength and our power. And it's hard work. Child, we tired and we don't want to do it, but we have to do it. Um, and then we have to make sure that we constantly show up for our babies, because if not, they are in some way going to experience it, and we need to be able to be there for them and stick up for them and to hear them and listen to them and not be hard on them when they go through something. We need to make sure that we are able to show up for our babies the way that we had wished our parents or our families have showed up for us. And, at this point in our lives, we feel like it may be too late, and maybe it is for some, but nonetheless, don't give up. I'll say that. Don't give up. Remember that some of the resources that we have now, they didn't. And also, baby boomers and Gen Gen X's, make sure that you guys take accountability for showing up for your kids, because we're millennials now. We're older now. And although we're millennials, we listen, we just made it to 30, and some of us just made it to 40. Okay? And we still got work to do. And so that means that y'all 50 and y'all 60 and y'all still here. And if y'all are not, if y'all parents are not, may they rest in peace. May they rest in love. And may you continue to show up for yourself and accept the fact that your parents didn't have the resources that they have, and accept the fact that they did the best that they could and for you to be here. It may not have looked easy. Listen, it may have looked easy, but it probably was hard. But you're here, you're still alive, you're still breathing, you're still well. And then if this doesn't help, let's give some grace and forgiveness to them. Dear Veron, I'm so proud of you. Look at how far you've come. When you thought it was the end, you somehow made sure you kept going. Thank you for continuing to be in God's face when it felt like no one else could see him. Thank you for making sure no one dimmed our light so that we can keep shining. I'm sure there were times we put our light out ourselves, and we hid most times, but there is where we found ourselves. There is where we became stronger, loving, hopeful, braver, and maybe even wiser. I knew you would come back for me, and you truly always did. When I thought someone else would come around, you always found your way back to me. So that's why I'm thanking you and giving you your flowers. You deserve it. God is always protecting us and covering us, but there are times, and times we've maybe put a lot of trust in those who really couldn't show up for us. And to be honest, that's okay too. If they're still here somehow, it's for a reason. Those who are here but left in ways we would never know how or why were lessons in our seasons. And the ones remained away will only see us evolve and grow from afar. It will always be love. You you were always a dream, a light, and carried a pure heart. And I hate for it to be any other way. But you got this, and our heart will always be true. I'm sure we're still misunderstood, and if not emotional, extremely passionate over everything and everyone we speak, pray, and touch over. We're still wise beyond our years, but remember to slow down, breathe, and give yourself grace and love. I missed you, but again, you always come back to me. Love you, V.